tutorial. Okay, so this tutorial is actually the continuation of the previous tutorial that I introduced you about the view model. And if you check out my previous tutorial, I just created this simple application, just implementing the view model, right? So our view model was called total view model, which just has this simple function to increase the total, right? And whenever you click the button, okay, so I had two split fragments, like split fragment 1 and split fragment 2. I increment the total, but the total was just updated in the split fragment 1, whereas split fragment 2 was idle, in the sense like there was no update here, right? So to fix this issue, how can we fix this issue? If you can just think about some solution to fix this issue. Actually, from passing a data from one fragment to another, we need to use a publisher subscriber approach, okay, to monitor the changes that occurs in our data, right? So in our view model. This is actually done by common data streams that view model can use to notify the data when the data is changed. So here comes the concept of data streams. So data stream is the concept where we will use we will use it this data stream to notify that the data is changed. Okay, so what are data streams actually? So when it comes to data observability, so we have multiple approaches for implementation, whether manually built mechanisms, components from the like Java languages, third-party components, or finally the solutions developed particularly for Android. So we will be focusing on the solutions developed by particularly for Android. Okay, so and this solution is called LiveData. Okay, and also there are some other solutions like flows from coroutine components. Okay, so but for this concept, for this tutorial, we will be focusing on LiveData. In my previous in my upcoming new lectures, I will be also talking about data streams like flows from coroutines. Okay, but I will be doing it later in the advanced tutorial later on, but we will be focusing on the live data. So live data is you can see, it's a part of a Android architecture component, which means that it is tailored especially for Android. Okay, so we will then look at how we can use this live data in our application. So now let's understand what is live data. Live data is a lifecycle aware component that permits update to your UI, but only if the UI is in the active state. For example, if the activity or fragment is in one of the started or resumed state, only it permits to update your UI, otherwise it doesn't, right? To monitor the changes on live data, you need to observe the you need the observer combined with a lifecycle owner. So when the activity is set to the active state, the observer will be notified when the changes occurs, right? So if the activity is recreated, then the observer will be destroyed and a new one will be reattached. Once this happens, the last value of the live data will be emitted to allow us to restore the state. Activities and fragments are lifecycle owners, but fragments has a separate lifecycle owner for the view states. So fragment have this particular lifecycle owner due to their behavior in the backstack fragment. So when fragments are replaced with the backstack, they are not fully destroyed, only their views are destroyed. Okay, so some of the common callbacks that developers use to trigger processing logic are view on view created, on activity resumed, and on create view. So if we were to register observers for live data in this method, we might end up with the scenarios where multiple observers will be created every time our fragment pops back into the screen. So when updating a live data model, we are presented with two values, two options actually. So set value and post value. Set value will deliver the result immediately and is meant to be called only on the UI thread. On the other hand, post value will be called on any other thread. When post value is called, live data will schedule an update of the value on the UI thread and update the value when the UI thread becomes free. So in the live data class, these methods are protected which means that there are subclasses that allows us to change the data. Mutable live data makes the method public, which gives us a simple solution for observing data in most cases. So mediator live data is a specialized implementation of live data. So these are different types of live data, right? Mutable live data makes the method public, which gives a simple solution for observing data in most cases, whereas mediator live data is a specialized implementation of live data that allows us to merge multiple live data object into one. So this is useful in situation when the data is kept in a different repositories and we want to show a combined result. Okay, so there is also some other live data like transform live data is another specialized implementation that allows us to convert one object into another. This helps us to see, in the situations where we grab data from one repository and we want to request data from another repository that depends on the previous data, as well as in the situations where we want to apply extra logic to a result where from a repository, right? So custom live data allows us to create our own live data implementation, usually when we particularly receive updates such as odds in a sports betting app, stocks market updates, and Facebook and Twitter feeds like that, right? So in the common practice, just be note that in common practice to use live data in ViewModel, holding live data in a fragment or activity will cause losses in data where when configuration changing occurs, right? So let's check out the simple diagram. Okay, so this is our simple diagram. This diagram actually what it is doing is this diagram is pretty much showing us how live data is connected to the life cycle of a life cycle owner. You know how live data is connected to life cycle owner, and how it when it started it notifies when the observer is active, it notifies that it's active. When the observer like when the life cycle owner is stopped, it notifies it's inactive, you know, and live data is also inactive, you know. So it's like when like your live data is active only when your life cycle owner is active, and is inactive when your life cycle owner is in the your life cycle of stays stopped, right? So this is the scenario. So we can yeah, we saw the relationship between live data and lifecycle observer with lifecycle owner. So just note that we can register multiple observers for live data, and each observers can be registered for the different lifecycle owner. In this situation, live data will be inactive, but only when all the observers are inactive. Okay, so okay, now here we understood how the live data component works and the benefits is provide for us to observe the data from activities and fragment with regard to their life cycle. So now let's implement and let's modify this application in such a way that we will this fragment will also observe the data that is modified from this fragment. Okay, so the first thing is obviously we need to add our live data. Where is this my view model, and let me add my live data dependencies. Okay, implementation live data ktx. Okay, let me sync now. And okay, so we have added our necessary dependencies for our live data, and then now we can go and modify our view model. Obviously it's here totals view model, so we'll pretty much modify and create our first total private variable with mutable live data of type int, and then now we have the public variable that we will be implementing. It's a live data of type int. It will take the total the value assigned by the total live data, right? So let me avoid the duplications here. So now what we will do is we init the total post value 0. So initially we will just initialize the value with 0, and now increase the total. When we increase the total, what we have to do, we have to obviously post the value, right? Post the value with the incrementation, that is a total dot value. If the value is null, then you just assign 0. Otherwise you and then you increment it, right, +1. And yeah, so you don't return anything because the post is actually returning the values, right? So you don't need to have that situations here. Okay, so what next, guys? Uh, so we can now modify our fragment, right? So let's go and modify our fragment. Split fragment 1 actually. So split fragment 1, here we have to actually go and observe the situations, right? So how can we observe? So our in our on view created, actually we have to observe and so we have to observe and update the value. So what we are doing here, we're pretty much we were using our we are assigning the values here, right? So okay, we have the view model here. So what we can do, you can just update here total view model total observe with view lifecycle owner, and then we can update the value. It's update text with the it, right? So similarly when we also click the we increase the total total view model increase total, and yeah, that's it, guys. So this is the split fragment 1. Now we will also have to modify our split fragment 2. Fragment 2 we will be using our split fragment 2 and also doing the similar situation here. We'll have to observe totals view model total dot observe view lifecycle owner, and then we have to update the text with the value, right? It's as simple as it, right, guys? So now let's apply this everything, and let's check that everything is working fine. Okay, so now we press 1. You see the value is updated here with the data streams, right? 2 3 4 5 6, you know, like whichever values you update here, it's also being updated here. Yeah, so guys, that's it, guys. And this is all about the brief introduction about live data. And in the next lecture I will be talking about how to do the testing, okay, unit testing. And thank you, guys, and catch you up in the next lecture.